Hello, hello, everybody. Welcome back in to the College Championship Series. We are here for our round of 16. We just had one game where Ole Miss crushed Oklahoma Christian University. But I will say OC did have some moments of life, which make me happy. So hopefully, if we look at game 2 going into this one, Alk, maybe there's some glimmers of hope that we might actually have a series here from our upset team in Oklahoma Christian. Like, if they are able to play those early advantages a little bit better, I think they might look better when it comes to those team fights.
They were just living on borrowed time, a lot of those. It was like, okay, Ole Miss, we see them overextend. The biggest point of concern for me is going to be the top lane. I didn't think that I would have to worry about this, but this is immovable object up against this is like when they paint on the wall, this is a tunnel, you can keep going. A car is just full speed right into it.
So we have this,
okay,
right?
Yep.
So if I were to draw a tunnel here, right, would you go
Gorilla
through
Jones would run headfirst into it, unfortunately.
Gotcha. I just wanted to make sure we got that clarified for everybody.
Yeah.
We have this for a reason.
Yeah, so exactly.
But yes, I kind of feel like that. I'm the same with you on that one. I think I also would prefer more of a actual Gorilla Jones type champion. Even if Jax is meant to be that bruiser, scaling, that kind of thing. I'm thinking Kled. I'm thinking Darius. Something that really wants to go for that 1v1 fight up against the competition a little bit earlier, too. That might look a little stronger for this top lane.
This is also the conversation that you would have if we're talking about teams that are just mismatched in terms of level of strength. Again, we expect for Ole Miss to be a top 4 program here in the championship, whereas for OC, I think that making it to 16 and potentially into double elim would be a massive feat for this squad. We cannot play standard versus the enemy team. This is something where we need to kind of get creative, get into our playbook, see what our players can pull out. And like you said, Gorilla Jones is that guy that, at least on this team, when he reaches for stuff into his champion pool, it's the wacky things. It's stuff that we haven't seen or are not as prevalent right now. So I am looking towards Gorilla Jones to not only up his consistency, hopefully we don't have another game where Sion is solo killing Jax, because aside from that, I think we did see, like you said, some good moments, but it all came way too late into the game.
Agreed. It's just gotta have those moments a little bit earlier into the game, not fall so far behind in the lane phase as we have a swapping of the sides between the two teams. So OC is now going to be on the blue side, but they're still banning away that Kalista, and we see Ole Miss still banning away that Talia.
Yeah. We'll see. OC now on blue side, I think, is the really important part. It does mean that they're more than likely not going to be able to grab counter picks, which I think would be a little bit more interesting for Gorilla Jones.
Ooh.
But this time, they're probably just going to go for a full suite of 80 carry bans, right? They banned away Jinx last time. The Kalista was gone as well. Draven this time. It's just a full-on focus for Shogo. And that is also another benefit that you always have to ascribe to this team, which is Shogo is going to pull bans. Sometimes it's 2, sometimes it's 3, and in this instance, he has gained so much in terms of the draft. What does OC first pick here? Because we've seen a lot of Bears first pick. Ashe, like you're saying, is available. Do they try to prioritize something like a Twisted Fate? We'll have to see.
True. That's a difficult one. Because then if you don't take the Ashe would be taken. Jinx wasn't banned here, so they can pick up that Jinx and take that away from Shogo, because that was something that was banned before by them. They took that away, but that leaves open this Ashe option that you can get for yourselves if you're Ole Miss. Seems that Felios is actually going to be the call for Shogo, and Shogo with the Felios, and then Sion 4 straight again.
Okay. I wonder if, anytime there's a Sion, we gotta think maybe there's some lane swaps going on here, but we'll see what the case is. Getting the Sion pretty early on is like whatever. It means that Stray is probably going to be stuck on tank duty for the rest of the series. And now we get the Rumble from Gorilla Jones. I was wondering maybe we could have seen it in the support position, just thanks to Life over on FPX and kind of some more of the Eastern supports picking it up. But now with the Nautilus locked in, this is going to be a matchup that is not the easiest for Rumble. Yes, it's another tank, and he can kind of generate some gold early, but Sion very rapidly stacks health, and it becomes difficult to push him out of the lane and try to go for those solo kills that we see Rumble usually get.
We see Rhino grabbing Thresh here. You have more options towards Shogo on this Aphelios. It's kind of like what we saw when Aphelios first came around, where we saw a lot of the Thresh utilized to help reposition him, really make it so that Shogo can play aggressively, but always have that escape option. As we get into the second part of the bans, Vi put on the bench there against Trinket, and then Azir denied for Emps. That Twisted Fate is still open. So not having seen that just yet, I'm a little surprised that we actually saw that Twisted Fate was able to get this far. I wonder if OC banned it right here with that Kindred.
I think they may be more worried about some of the more aggressive jungle picks. To be fair, when we look at both of these mid laners, we can talk about some of their individual stories and whatnot, but they're not by and far the most standout in their own individual performances. So now Ole Miss able to have their hands yet again on Icelandic's Lee Sin, and it looks like actually it was the Azir for OC and an Orianna here for Ole Miss. So they want to try to give counter pick to your Uncle Sam. What are they prepping? Because Ems has definitely been sometimes a pain point and also does have his individual picks. We saw an Aurelia from him actually last week.
Ivern?
Okay, so yeah, okay. Oh,
Ivern
they're going
Aurelia?
for Aurelia. Okay. All right, we're
Okay.
getting melees. We have to get right into the face. We want to kind of throw it down. You want to get kills for your Jinx. Get into the face of someone like this Aphelios. You can't stop that.
Dimitri, we asked for something unique and crazy here out of OC, and they've delivered. They're playing more their style in this one with that Aurelia, Ivern, Rumble, like you talked about, can get in the face of you. And then there's more scaling on Ole Miss with an Aurelian Soul, something that can help split up the fights, but early on is very susceptible to that combination of Ivern and Aurelia.
We'll have to see how many Chovy VODs your Uncle Sam has been taken in, because the ults are obviously going to be really impactful. His ability to create space and stop the opponent from being able to walk in is obviously very strong. But I see from OC some good engage. You have great ways of starting up fights. The Nautilus ult, even Rumble ult, being able to force Shogo and your Uncle Sam to not be able to stand in that same spot, cut them out from fights, can be really, really important. My worry here for OC, again, can they actually get to that point in the game where they can stand tall against their opponents and actually take those team fights? We have seen some flanks from Ems, but again, on this Aurelia, he has had some coin flips. He has definitely not been the most consistent member, and that has been the case for all of OC coming into this tournament.
I think if you're going to make a statement, this is going to be the game with Aurelia, Ivern, to really buff up that Aurelia even more. Have, as you talked about, Gorilla Jones on Rumble. Got really a composition that is uniquely your own going up against Ole Miss. And I would love to see them really be that tour de force against Ole Miss. Get a big upset. Make it so Kai and Ilya is correct on their predictions when it comes to that 3-1 as we load up onto the Rift for game number 2.
And for OC, obviously, wanting to take, at the very least, a game off their opponents would definitely feel good. Talking with Sneezes, saying our goal for this year was top 8. Unfortunately, I think they did get UCI bracket diffed, where they did have to face up against a top 4 team very early on into the tournament. But I think if you're trying not to be a bit of a coper, you have to say you're gonna have to face Ole Miss at some point in the tournament.
So
if you're gonna try to contest for top 8 or push for a top 4, you're gonna have to at one point probably have faced against Ole Miss. And honestly, not the worst spot to kind of face them. It's right outside of Double Elim, which I think is the really kind of trash part if you're an OC fan. But yeah, again, this was a matchup that we are expecting for Ole Miss to be super dominated, and looks like they are going to try to invade onto top side.
We see the flash onto Gorilla Jones, realizing that there's everybody there. Being cheeky on where he goes. Gets a little bit of damage with the Flame Spitter. Does dodge away. Nice ghost to barely escape that death sentence.
So we're lane swapping here, which is good into Ivern just because he can't inherently clear camps without either waiting for his passive to proc, or, you know, they try to move on to something else and use their smite. But we are also moving away from the Jinx, which I think giving Jinx a lot of gold like this can be dangerous.
Paralysis. Hello, Paralysis. You're here in the mid lane. Nice dredge line right into the sun of the duet. Uncle Sam does have flash, but Ignite is ticking away. One more.
Oh, no!
Uncle Sam escapes danger.
Has TP as well, so he'll be able to come back into this lane. They know they don't have to do any. They're not worried about bottom side. Gorilla Jones, gotta be careful, brother.
Nice ward. Very good ward.
So he's cut out from this wave. How much can Ole Miss actually get here? I would have thought it would have been pretty funny for Rhino if you actually got something like a Demolish in his inventory.
That would have actually been really funny.
To try to set up for this if you know you're going to be going for lane swaps. But Instead, again, opting for this. So we have to see what OC can get. Remember, now that they've put so much pressure on the bottom side and they have, you know, just naturally more numbers there, can they go for a Drake stack? Can they make sure that they're staying on top of objectives? And you have this Ivern who's going to provide so much protection.
He doesn't steal us away, does he? No. No, you have Smite, right? Yeah, you have Smite. Burn. Oh,
Gets
okay,
it.
it's not stolen away.
Gets the Smite, level 1 Rumble.
Yeah.
Oh god, he's dead.
Yeah, he is so dead. Oh,
what?
No, Icelandic actually not going to follow that up.
Okay, there we go.
There it is. That's the follow. I was waiting for that one. Still, I think the fact that he peeled off in the first place gave enough distance so that Gorilla Jones could have had the backup events.
Now, Trinket is actually stealing bottom side camps at the same time. So a small win for this for Trinket, who, again, when you're playing Ivern, getting gold, being this enchanter is going to be very, very important when we talk about the strategy for this game if you are Oklahoma Christian.
Bot lane, we do see that Trinket kind of hanging out in the bot lane. Death Sentence connecting with the Flay, getting a little bit of damage, helped out by the turret. In Paralysis, Decimating Snash barely clipping there on to Nautilus, but not really doing much.
Okay. So bottom lane right now, they're trying to go for this. Trinket's going to pick up another
top lane
camp.
though. Oh
yeah,
no.
And Icelandic here, prepping for the dive.
He's so dead. Has a big minion wave. Clearing out, does get level 2 off of that wave at least. Icelandic showing up, popping the ghost. Getting all that damage so they can get first blood for Shogo.
There we go. So it's a plate. It's a kill here for Shogo. Did have to use the ghost here.
You're okay with that. That's such a low cooldown there.
Agreed. This summoner spell is dumb. I know we talked about this a little bit yesterday, but ghost needs to be nerfed. Right, games?
See, okay, so I'm gonna just make this devil's advocate argument for Ghost, right? Flash is way stronger than any other summoner spell. So why are the other summoner spells not buffed instead?
Agree. Oh, and he gets
instead
the
of
back
nerfing.
Canceled.
Yeah,
I
agree.
Like they probably should just. I mean, they should buff them, but I also just think Ghost is still very strong.
I like that. Flay though with that flash from Rhino. Emps no escape. Gets a shield, but not helped out enough. It is a kill for Uncle Sam.
And it means he gets a recall timer here. They get to move on towards top side. A minute before they see the grub spawning, I think is way, way important, especially when you are playing with your AD carry in the top lane versus the Rumble. Trinket doesn't have Smite here, so he's not going to be able to kind of steal this away, but instead Ole Miss just decide, we're going to back off, we're going to try to get this wave in a good position and set ourselves up for another dive.
I think the fact that Gorilla Jones is now level 3 has the shield that you can get at this point, plus hitting them with electric harpoons, it would be a little risky. You don't know where the support is for the side of OC. So I think Ole Miss actually making a pretty wise call and not going for the really aggressive play there.
Trinket even on the bottom side of the map here, so not going to be doing too much. Okay, so if they do go for this dive, Nautilus waiting in Fog of War. Also has the Ignite, so you have to expect maybe there's a kill here. No summoners except for a flash on Shogo.
And you can flash in if you're Paralysis. So waiting to see if that's set up. Icelandic going to be right there in the pocket in case that Death Sentence does connect, but the moment they see Paralysis, they back off the call.
And I think Paralysis just shows a little too early there.
I did too.
So it's a plate there for Shogo and Rhino, but if Paralysis just waited...
Dredge line? Okay, I'm a little surprised you went for the Dredge line there, taking a wall up there on Paralysis. I think maybe they thought that it was going to be delayed enough with Trinket here. Icelandic also, they noticed him leaving that Pixel Brush ward. See that he is going for the grubs. So there's that potential. You look towards the top side of the map. That maybe Paralysis and Trinket go over the wall.
They have no damage if they go for this, though.
Oh, wait. Now they do with Emps here. Yeah, there's Emps here now. Now they have the damage, and he's level 6. Vanguard's Edge is there if they need to throw it out. They get the kill already on the show. Go. Rhino, the next one to go. And it's going to be a kill gifted to Gorilla Jones.
Really well played there from OC to kind of wait for him to use the Lantern and then immediately punish. They know that Shogo's not going to be using his flash in that instance, so great job from Oklahoma Christian. They find themselves with an advantage. They get themselves some kills, and now this Rumble alleviated a little bit. Really important when you're playing these lane swaps and you have something like Rumble to try to match. Getting level 6 is so important. It prevents dives on certain waves. If you know the enemy jungler is there, you can just use the ultimate, drop it on that wave, and they're fine. Stray actually using this to back TP top lane to catch this wave, and they're going for another lane swap. So OC, they get 2 of the grubs there, so and alongside the kills. If Old Miss cannot get this next dragon, they're in a bit of a tough situation.
Well, with Rhino getting caught out like this, that's actually going to be horrible for the side of Old Miss to even try to fight around this. OC capitalizing on those rotations to get Emps more gold. While top lane is a dive onto Gorilla Jones. Junkyard shield with the help of the turret. It should be targeting on. They got it! It's going to be a 1-for-1 in that top lane 1v2.
Now both junglers are Old Miss's junglers, that's it. They can't really pressure for this. Shogo's by himself, has to use the flash. Okay, now Old Miss, we are just getting, we're not even outplaying. There's a lot of unforced errors. The game is getting a little too chaotic. And again, this has to, I think, come from some of the over-aggression from some of the members. Icelandic not going for the dive. They need to peel everybody out. They're not clearing all of their vision. They're not taking the proper steps. OC punishing them properly and are generating themselves a small gold lead. All the while, Josu is still farming. Doesn't have a kill, doesn't have a death, but he has just been all by himself. He's been able to get some of these plates, so still going to be relevant to be able to match Shogo come team fights.
Which is going to be important. Jinx team fight is going to be insane, especially because you have so many tools kind of peel back for Jinx or to engage. Looking at Emps right now, 2-on-1, working towards that Blade of the Ruin King on Aurelia. That is a massive power spike for the side of OC.
And for the time being, you're going to have them waiting for not only the grubs to spawn in probably 2 minutes. The lack of focus on dragons, I think, is really interesting. I don't know if we really going for a dive on Sion, guys. We're just here to protect our top laner.
Yeah, that's got to be. They do throw out the equalizer, so they're going to get a lot of damage on Stray, but he's still tanky enough already. He's been clearing out a lot of those waves. That he's got more than half his health remaining. You're only level 6 if you're Gorilla Jones. So they have to peel back and look at that. The moment they notice that the jungler's topside, we already see that Ole Miss are trying to make a play bot.
So this entire time at the same, while that play was going on, Emps was actually moving towards the top side. Really love that our observer was showing the Fog of War in that instance. Emps was halfway up through the river before returning back to mid. Does mean that Uncle Sam gets a timer to push out, come down for this play, and opens up a dragon that gets stolen with ult and a W!
The fact that that Zap stole it away.
Okay, well, I think Ajosi's been watching some of my my Jinx plays. He's been watching some VODs on Jinx because he just steals the Baron, or steals the Dragon, sorry. Such a big win for OC. I was just talking about that. If Old Miss cannot also get this objective, they're in a kind of tricky situation here. And now Old Miss, Gorilla Jones should be able to get out. I don't think that Stray should have a beat on him.
I don't think so either, but we already said that before in the last matchup where it was Sion versus Jax. There, with how low Gorilla Jones was, I was a little worried that something similar was about to happen in the top lane, and he's staying in that top lane. He's not leaving. He doesn't have TP. He's got Ghost, which means that he doesn't have that easy way to get back into lane.
Now we see Icelandic going for this dive. Repercussions of this, being able to open up for a topside play. You're going to be able to reset and look for early grubs.
No equalizer. Getting hit by the shout there. Scrapyard shield not really helping out. Sonic Wave connecting this time around. Not going to have Icelandic fall to the turret. They get the free kill. They get the plate stacked up as well. And sooner or later, it's going to be grubs.
They're moving Paralysis and Emps, and the bottom lane here, more specifically, Shogo already bottom lane, Rhino pushing out through mid. Your Uncle Sam probably going to have to TP if he wants to contest. So he's going to push out this mid wave. Stray's dead here. Yeah,
he's just going to sacrifice himself. He got the turret for the team. Get some gold. Decimating Smash, delaying. Emps killing him. They even have Trinket and Paralysis both guarding the escapes, so Stray had no real way.
So they're going to go for this now. Ooh, wait, Gorilla Jones showing bottom lane since they did pull Paralysis up here, just to make sure that Ajosu can farm or collect some of the golden experience. Going for
That's
the
going to be equalizer. Oh, wow. Rhino was taking up the turret for a long time there, but they called down the skies just to keep the fight from happening. Rocket, not enough damage. A little too soon there for Josu.
Surprised that Emston tried to cut off. They know that the only exit out of that play is through Tri-Brush. I feel like if you're going to TP for that play, you have to go for it, but all in all, it's a TP invested for OC. It gets them more grubs, so they're going to be sitting on 4 of them, which is really, really nice.
All right, we have Ghost Pop by Shogo. They're still looking for that fight. 4 members here. Rhino not actually backing, staying around with Gorilla Jones 2 levels down to Stray. Very tinky boy.
Kick.
And look at that kick beautifully into the death sentence. So out of the go. Rumble's gone. And everyone else from OC on the run.
And the entire time, your Uncle Sam is just pushing mid. Emps sacrificing a lot for this play. Getting plates in mid, getting some gold, getting a lot of experience for yourself while on Aurelion Sol is very, very nice. He's going to just try to go for the solo.
He should be able to kill him. You're Ivern against Aurelion Sol. He's got way more damage, but bot lane, they're diving. That's a depth charge onto the carry. Flash away from a Josu, leaving out that Nautilus.
Nice
that turn's not going to help out. Beautifully done by Rhino to make sure they capitalize and get more gold for Shogo.
And those are so many summoner spells gone. Ignite being the only thing left for Paralysis, but I don't even think they have a turret available to them during all of this. OC, with the amount of priority and the ability for them to grab so many grubs, it's nice. But again, grubs is a win more objective. If you're able to hit turrets, it's great. But if you're in this situation where you're not getting very many timers, you're spending a lot of time trying to go for plays, trying to set up for team fights, then you're not going to be able to utilize this. And the entire time Old Miss are fighting back, they're winning skirmishes.
But Dimitri, I will say, just to kind of elaborate a little bit on your point, and again, play devil's advocate on this one. Is it not good to deny that from Ole Miss to make sure they're not going to be able to win more, and you have scaling on your side? So denying that game from ending too quickly could help out the side of OC.
Sure, but we could have also said maybe they could have invested putting Trinket towards that bottom side and not having to Emps go for the teleport. They could have contested for Drakes a little bit more properly and not necessarily relying on a 1 in 100 steal from a Josu there. So
very fair.
So again, some criticism here for Ole Miss and for OC, where this early game has not been perfect, but look at the gold lead now. Still 3,000 gold, Icelandic, now back in kind of the swing of things. And my eyes are going to be looking at Trinket, who now is the Moonstone Renewer. Can you properly protect a Josu alongside a Nautilus enough for him to actually get damage down in team fights?
A Josu.
Should be able to get out here. There's not enough from Rumble to be able to set up for resets. The whole point of this composition is being able to have enough damage to burst through that first target so that we get the Jinx getting excited. But with where Gorilla Jones is right now, I'm not confident in him being able to be that guy.
Especially when you look at the gold difference between some of the important members, right? Shogo has quite a lead over Josu, and if you're trying to play around this Jinx to be your carry come late game, get these resets, having that kind of discrepancy at this Dragon fight, you have all 5 members here, but Stray is in the bot lane.
Em's trying to play in Fog of War the entirety of this. Rhino.
Equalizer, that's doing a lot, but the Skies descend, and they got a lot of damage. The kick gets onto the backline, but they've already lost the support and jungle. Huge for OC. They now try to kite back. They do get the pull on the dredge line, looking to take out Aurelion Sol. All the while, they have Shogo. They're putting a lot of damage. You're throwing out the Inferno. They've got the dash into the backline, flashed away from the stun, but it's still Rumble's Flame Spitter, taking out everybody with Uncle Sam still diving, but he's not going to go anywhere further. Em's flashing away from Zombie Scion. OC making a huge play.
They make it happen. Rumble ultimate alongside fighting that pick onto Rhino. Front face checking into Fog of War. Ole Miss, they get picked out. They're going to try to teleport. They're going to cancel this. Icelandic died so early on that they're able to get back into this. They steal this. Huge win for Ole Miss.
Just taking that away. The fight was won by OC, but the Dragon was claimed by Ole Miss. Now bot lane Emps. You've got Gorilla Jones, both of them pretty low. Trinket already starting to faint back towards the turret, and we cannot fight against them at this point. We need to capitalize on the gold that we got from the fight.
This game has very quickly become less about Shogo and a Josu versus your Uncle Sam. The Aurelion Sol being so useful in that fight. We saw those two carries going back and forth. A Josu ends up falling. But I still am a little worried here for Ole Miss. They have the scaling available to them thanks to, by proxy, just having this Aurelion Sol. And we need to see a little bit more for them and kind of protecting their carries, because in that moment, Rhino was gone, so no one is there sitting for Shogo, and he just gets taken down. And yes, Stray is going to be useful. Oh,
nice kick.
They find him.
Right into the alley-oop scoop, giving Shogo a free kill.
God, that's such a good play there for Ole Miss, finding a Josu immediately. And while they are not able to grab the mid-tier one, they're going to try to make this play, push in the bottom side, steal more camps, take this away from Trinket. And Emps needs to be so careful here.
Sonic Wave lands, the duet, getting the stun. Now you're in a bad spot, trying to dash back, but they got the Blade Surge doing nothing because Decimating Smash interrupted that, and Shogo being gifted all this gold.
So they're getting gold, they're going to trade it for, right now, present term gold. And for OC, they're just going to invest on the top side, get themselves a Rift Herald set up to try to take up one of these objectives. Maybe it's going to be one of these standing turrets. I think if I were them, I'd prefer this mid-tier one if we could.
Me too.
Dragon spawning in 3.5 minutes does mean that they will have a set play right before the Dragon. Can they find a little bit of chunk damage? Can they try to force out one member? Or do they just use this Rift Herald to set up a play?
Also, I want to give some major props to Rhino on this Thresh and how he's been playing. Him and Icelandic are pretty much on point. We've seen, I think that's twice in a row, that the kick has been used by Icelandic to set up Rhino on a death sense that he already had channeling mid-kick.
He was already ready. I mean, look, he's already had a game on the Lee Sins. I'd hope he's warmed up for those kick combos. And Rhino, Thresh was one of the champions that he made his name on very early on when we did see him pop into the competitive scene. Whether that was him playing for Team Liquid Academy or otherwise, there's just a lot of Thresh plays. I think this is also the champion that he has that Sven clip where he just lands a hook in between like a bunch of minions right into enemy AD. Him and Sven grab that. It was a really cool clip. They're using this now 2 minutes before the Dragon.
I kind of like that they use the equalizer that way, but I don't like, as you said, using it so early. Now the fight ensues. Getting this guy to send, but not doing enough damage. It's Paralysis absorbing as much pressure as possible with a kick, though. It's pulling back in, getting a killing spree for Shogo. Emps denied, too. No resets there. Josu trying to get away. Flash as Icelandic following up, looking for the turret dive. They've got so much damage coming in from Aurelian's ult.
Wait,
Uncle
Josu
Sam
can win
trying
this.
to burn them alive, but Josu can if they get a good rocket. No, rocket is gone. They don't have the reset just yet, even if it's a 3v5. You can tell that Old Miss are like, hey, we already won the fight. We don't need to gain anything else. We're going to peel back and try to set up for the Dragon.
I was wondering if Trinket may try to land one of the Ivern Qs, try to find out onto his opponent, but Ajosu lives for so long. Good job from Icelandic there to force out the flash as well from Jinx. A very big summoner spell win for the side of Old Miss. And a fight that, despite going, you know, slightly in favor of Old Miss, I think you got a really big win when we look at those summoner spells. Getting the flash out from Trinket, getting the flash out of Ajosu and Paralysis, especially right before this Dragon. I think that was a miscall from OC. And again, one of the things that we criticized them coming into the series was their caliber for finding fights is not as fine-tuned. Right there, pretty big loss, and it means that they probably shouldn't go for this Dragon. They should instead try to attend to some of their lanes, pick up maybe this mid-tier one that's about a quarter HP.
But how are you going to get near that again unless you get a Rift Herald?
Yeah.
Aurelian Soul clears out wave so quickly here, 20 minutes into the game, nearly getting that second item. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised if we see after clearing that wave topside that Uncle Sam goes back to base, have TP, so they can start contending around that Dragon, as you were calling out, that I think you're right that OC really can't fight against.
I love what we've been seeing from your Uncle Sam. He was the most improved player coming out of the Challengers League qualifiers, rightfully so. His level of play, so he backs, he picks up his item, he has the ultimate that is upgraded, so he has been watching some Chovy VODs. Every single important team fight he's had it.
Did you see the gold difference between Shogo and Josu?
I'm trying not to look at it.
When did that happen?
Well, Shogo did get a lot of alone time with some turrets. He's gotten a lot of kills here, and he also has a gold lead.
A massive gold lead.
Yes.
4,000 just between the ADCs, and it's a 5,000 gold diff. Now you have this guy's ascend, knocking up a Josu with an equalizer, trying to cut up the wave, but they already got the kill on a Jinx. No resets today. More gold for Shogo. He's fed, he's carried. The flash in does not get that death sentence, but it doesn't matter. The fight has been won. Shogo showing up in the top lane as we got a fight. Getting a little bit of damage from Stray. Trying to get Emps, who's been just held underneath this turret, trying to heal up, but Stray takes down the Stray's top side.
That's Baron being started immediately for Ole Miss, and that might be the play that completely shuts OC out of a Game 2 victory. It was looking good in the early game, but unfortunately they were not able to pivot. We were talking about how important Ajosu was going to be. He is still so close, yet so far from picking up an Infinity Edge, while Shogo so close to getting 3 items.
Oh, that rocket just a little bit too late. Could have been another miracle steal there from Ajosu, but as you're saying, at this point in the game, it is now completely broken apart. This game is Ole Miss handedly taking that fight, getting themselves all the objectives, no way to answer from OC. And you gotta wonder just how it got to this point in the first place, because it was looking much better from OC into Game 2.
It's so difficult when you can't really find an objective win, when your top lane is not pushing in the convenient strategy that you had thought. You thought you were going to maybe try to go for some standard lanes. You know when there's a Scion that they're probably going for some level of lane swapping there. And while Gorilla Jones got back into the game during the mid-game section, we saw him get back in with the team around the 9 to 15 mark. They haven't really been able to plug a Josu back in here, and he is having such a hard time trying to deal with Lee Sin with Aurelion Sol on top of him. It is becoming more and more difficult for OC to actually let their carries play this game. While Ole Miss, they're kind of just playing with their food a little bit, honestly. Like, they have all the engage that they could want. They have all the damage ready to go. Shogo has his third item, and no one is threatening Uncle Sam at this point. The entire game, he's been flying around, doing whatever the hell he wanted.
Yeah, just look at this. Jersey trying to clear out the wave, but an item and a half for Jinx, 3.5 items for Shogo. That is a 2-item discrepancy this early. Vanguard's edge looking for Shogo, but he flashes away. They got this guy to send the rocket, not doing enough damage to Shogo, and he's out of there. With the fight getting split up by Icelandic Astray on the other side. They throw down the equalizer. This could be huge. It's a huge corridor, but they all flash away. And Sion still in the middle of it. There
Look
goes
Uncle Sam.
Uncle Sam pulled back in, though, by that dredge line. They can get the reset. Flashed away. Oh, Josu, there it is. Shut down, gifted it over to the Jinx. Looking for a little bit more damage on Astray, but he flashed away. Helping out. It is going to be a 2-for-1. One out by Ole Miss, but denying the game from just ending just yet.
A situation where Ole Miss, I think, overplaying their hand. A situation where they are not in position, going over the walls, flashing back over. Maybe a little bit messy in terms of coordination, but Ole Miss, it does mean with their numbers advantage, they're going to use this Baron, take the mid-tier 1, and now move an enemy jungle, start to take more and more resources away from Trinket. If Trinket can finish this third item, I think maybe OC can start to get into a spot where it's maybe playable. A Josu has those 2 items now, has the Infinity Edge completed. It's never going to match up against Aphelios. Aphelios, not only with the gold lead that he has, but now also with the stat shards, thanks to the way that his kind of kit works and being able to get more AD, more lethality. You're never going to match him stat for stat, but maybe if you can kind of empower this champion, this Jinx, maybe you can get into a spot where you find that 1 kill, especially now that a Gorilla Jones, those equalizers are doing damage.
And the Crypt Bloom, too.
Yeah.
If they can get that kill, just get that reset, they get the heal afterwards, too. This could help everyone who's diving into the back line. There are ways OC can get back into this game. It is going to be difficult, though. It is so not an easy task.
You have to play fights perfectly, and you're probably also hoping that Ole Miss make a mistake there, right? So we'll see. Genji Baron buff falling off of the Ole Miss members. Not going to have that available to them anymore. We're setting up around the Drake a bit early, 2 minutes, wanting to get the vision in early. Make sure that they have this. Stray is also split pushing, so I wonder who they're going to send, because if it's Aurelia, just don't think it's going to be super relevant. And right now, again, your Uncle Sam playing on the side lane. He's been doing this all game long on Aurelion Sol.
Gorilla Jones jumped on by Icelandic, but Icelandic has been split away, forced to use the kick defensively. But here's Stray out of nowhere, catching some strays and throwing some strays. They get the kill, and Gorilla Jones followed up. Jinx is out of there. What hope do you have left, OC? It is Shogo showing up always and forever here in Collegiate League of Legends.
You can run from it, you can hide, but Shogo is just inevitable. That'll be them moving through the mid lane. Maybe they try to end the game through top lane. They're pushing on so many different lanes at this moment. Probably going to break open a large portion of this base. Ole Miss just taking dominant win after dominant win. Some early game flubs, and I think that is more so to the case of Ole Miss mixed executing and some okay plays coming out from Oklahoma Christian.
As now every lane under siege by Ole Miss. Top's gone, mid about to fall, bot about to fall. They get a decimating smash to clear out the waves, while Gorilla Jones, they are back on the rift. Same with the Josu and Paralysis. But look how fast they take those. It's insane. They haven't even spent the gold that they got from that last fight, and they're already toppling the base into ruins.
It was a single team fight where they won 5-0. And now they're up 15k because they just demolished the base, like you were saying. No outer turrets, no inhibitors, nothing available. Recall spend their gold, like you were saying. Oh my god, he has 7,000 gold. Shogo is half of the gold lead right now for Ole Miss.
He's full build, right?
He's full build. I think he's missing an item. I think he's missing one item. Yeah, so he's close.
Wow.
Yeah, he is
26
so
and a half
strong.
minutes.
And I think only right to talk about the player who is tied for most winningest titles, right? Has 2 titles going into collegiate, tied with players like Sasuke, who did it in multiple roles and on different teams. So really exciting to see what this player can do. We're only in round of 16. We're getting closer and closer to our top 8, our top 4, and our grand finals. But it is plays like this that have us so inspired, and that's why we look towards players like Shogo to be one of the favorites coming into this tournament.
Absolutely impressive performance out of this ADC player, and doing it on multiple different champions, multiple different styles, play aggressively, play passively. All the same, Shogo comes, and they got the pick there on a paralysis, as he has been made into paralysis. No fight left from OC, trying to defend with the TP from Emps. You can see that Ivern Trinket, not even in the base. Equalizer used defensively, trying to get rid of the minions, but it doesn't matter. This is Ole Miss's game. This is Ole Miss's series. It is Shogo back in Collegiate Legends, looking to get that third title in a row, and he'll take out OC in Game 2 to be one step closer from the top 8.
There we go. It takes one more game from Ole Miss to be able to close out this series, but it has been dominant front to back. There's been some misplays. I think we've had some happy gaming coming out from both of our teams, but Oklahoma Christian just don't look like they got that dog in them. It is Ole Miss all the way through.
But hey, props to them for still finding some plays early in this game and making it a little bit closer, but run from it, dread it, hide from it. Shogo will come all the same in these games and absolutely decimate those in front of him.
We'll see. We'll see what OC have in Game 3, but there's a reason why we all predicted Ole Miss. We didn't have any UCI bias this time around to try to sway some of the predictions. Oklahoma Christian, unfortunately, I think all of them kind of understood the assignment coming in, that this was going to be a tough match. Talking with the Josu last week, he knew that Shogo is that guy, and he even said himself, he's probably going to body me. And I was like, no! We had to get him some PR training afterwards.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard, though. It's hard with how Shogo's been so impressive. Even in that game, it's not like Josu did a bad job up against him. It's just Shogo. He found the proper fights. He found a lot of angles to get those turret plates you were talking about that were gifted to him by the rest of Ole Miss, setting him up for success. So they take that second game. They're now up 2-0. One game remaining for Ole Miss if they win it. OC, maybe they can get the reverse sweep. We'll find out after a short break.